welcome to the Webcast for Monday, September 22nd. I'm South Ops meteorologist Jonathan O'Brien. Visible satellite this morning is rather similar to yesterday, with cloud cover streaming across most of Southern California, while a thin marine layer clings to the coastal areas elsewhere and clear skies prevail across the interior. And that's really going to be the theme today, as we are pretty much in for a repeat performance of yesterday. Speaking of yesterday, here's a look at our 24-hour rainfall totals. The radar was very active over Southern California yesterday, but it was really more bark than bite, as a lot of the rain the radar was showing did not actually make it to the ground. Totals were mostly less than 1/10 of an inch. Locally a tad higher. That 2.5-inch amount over the deserts here is erroneous, and otherwise, again, it's mainly very light amounts. There were also some isolated storms across the Sierra as well, although I don't think we'll be seeing those again today. As we go through today, we'll continue to see a lot of clouds and at least some sprinkles and light showers over the same areas that were seeing activity yesterday. But rainfall totals today should be even less impressive, with even most areas that are seeing the clouds and sprinkles likely seeing little to nothing in terms of measurable rainfall today. Still, we are looking at a pretty unsettled week, and it's all thanks to an area of cut-off low pressure that is going to sit and spin off the Southern California coast for the next couple of days, then move inland and continue to sit and spin right over the top of us for the latter portion of this week. We're going to be talking about this cut-off low a lot this week, as it's really the only game in town weather-wise for many days to come. With the cutoff low and its associated moisture and instability nearby, isolated to scattered showers and thunderstorms are expected in portions of the region each day all the way through the upcoming weekend. Again, for today, the shower and storm focus will be mainly over San Diego, Imperial, and southern Riverside counties, and any rainfall amount should be very light. The shower and storm focus will then shift more into Central California for Tuesday through Thursday. Shower and storm chances will then likely start to shift back into Southern California later in the week, following the path of that cutoff low. So it's definitely a damp pattern and an unusual one for this time of year, but for the most part it does look like more bark than bite will kind of remain the theme in the rainfall department. Rainfall amounts through the upcoming weekend look pretty light overall, mostly under 1/2 inch, but locally a little more, especially in the mountains or anywhere you get caught under a stronger storm. In addition, an area of heavier showers and storms with some higher totals will also likely affect the Central Coast region from late Tuesday into Wednesday. You can see that on the map here. So it's definitely a continuation of the beneficial moisture pattern that we've been in, but there's going to be a lot of dry hours this week as well, with no washout type days expected. Otherwise, as the upper low initially drifts a little further away from us, there will be a warming trend through Tuesday, which looks to be the warmest day of the week. These are Tuesday's forecast highs, some decent numbers for what is now the fall season, with valley highs mostly well up into the 90s. However, as the upper low moves closer, temperatures will then cool several degrees Wednesday and Thursday before leveling out, with valley highs mostly in the 80s for the remainder of this week, a few degrees below normal for this time of year. While rainfall amounts will mostly be limited, the other thing about this pattern is it remains an unusually humid one by California standards. Minimum humidity will be mostly above 20% through the weekend, with continued good overnight recoveries. And other than locally gusty and erratic winds near any thunderstorms, winds will generally be light throughout this week. Of course, with all the recent moisture, our dead fuel moistures are well above normal for what is typically a pretty dry time of year. We're still at a point where a few weeks of warmer and drier weather could potentially put us back in play for higher fire danger conditions heading towards the upcoming offshore wind season. But for now, any way you slice it, our fire danger indices are not looking at all like they typically would in mid to late September. And as a result, our large fire potential will remain very low this week as the humid and showery weather continues. Clearly, this is not a map and numbers that we typically see this time of year. We may very slowly start to creep these numbers back up by late this week or maybe next week if we can start to get into a drying pattern, but it's definitely going to take some time for things to recover from this wet pattern. That's it for today's webcast. Thanks for joining us. The next one will be on Tuesday, September 23rd.